Here we go.
Everybody in the lockdown is sort of when they're on the phone, and I rang up the optician, and he's no good. Well, he told me he couldn't see me, and I mean, I couldn't believe what sort of an optician's that. And I said, he said, have your eyes ever been checked? I said, no, they've always been this color. He said, it's 2 pairs of glasses for the price of 1 today. I said, well, Mr. Optician, that is all very well, but I can't wear 2 pairs of glasses at once. He said, no, the second pair is if you lose the first. And I said, well, what happens if I lose the second pair first? He said, well, put the first pair on, have a look for the second pair. And it was the same with the railway station. I rang them up. I said, what time does the next train go to London? He said, look it up online. I mean, you know, you're standing in the railway line looking up and down. So I went to the ticket office. I said, a return, please. He said, where to? I said, back here. I mean, where else am I going to go? I said, I want to go to London. He said, change at Stockport. I said, I want my change here. But I got my own back. I bought a return ticket and I never went back. Ta-da!
I think, to me, that's how an aspect of religion started. And then, of course, I've got the problem with there are so many religions. You know, I mean, one of them's got to be wrong or right, I don't know. And I wouldn't mind having religion, but I just think I'm so cynical and I'm not clubbable either. I'm a groucho, you know, like I won't be a member of anyone that has me as a member. So I don't know, I'm a pretty lost cause, I think. I'd be very surprised. I mean, I like the idea of like 2 minutes before death, just saying, I'll join, you know.
I think a lot of people are like that. I mean, how do you assess the future for the Anglican Church, particularly in England? And be as generous as you possibly can, Quentin.
Snow had fallen, snow on snow. And you think that's enough. But then she says, snow on snow. In the bleak midwinter, long ago. And all of those sounds just work beautifully together to capture a world. You're there.
It's going to end up about the size of the Bible at this rate, and you know how no one ever reads the Bible from beginning to end. So that is dangerous territory.
See, I've heard his statements on gay people. I've heard his statements on transgender people. You know, I don't agree with them.
Simplest form that I can put it, put the crisis in Syria is it's a proxy war. It's the war of others on the Syrian soil.
I have built up my own media platforms and I rarely agree to be interviewed by other people now. I do the interviewing now.
Well, look at that, what a coup.
I only did it for you because, as I said, who could refuse a request from the Godcast?
And I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. And I'll sit with you. I'll cry with you. I'll hold your hand in the middle of it. I'll pray with you. I'll sit before, you know, in this church and we will talk about all the things that we don't know how to fix. But
you don't expect Roger Eli to go from Burnley to China, but
well, do you know what, Alex? Do you know what? I was the biggest player in the team and the area, so it was just actually great being the tallest person, you know.
So heroin does work for what you want it to work for. That's why so many people use heroin. It's a very highly effective drug. It has severe negative consequences, but those negative consequences are distant and abstract, and the benefits they bring are immediate and tangible.
It is the Right Reverend Philip North, and Philip North is the Bishop of Burnley. He looks like he's somewhere else today, but I think that's just a backdrop. Bishop Philip, welcome to the Godcast. How are you?
It's great to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Strong faith, it doesn't mean I practice and I go regularly every weekend to Mass and so on, but I have a very strong faith myself and always have done, and I feel it's brought me through a lot of different stages in life.
The idea of something that's good being up and something that's bad, i.e. hell, being down, I think is a little bit more basic, because I think it's just the way that humanity views life generally. Things that are growing and expanding go up. So we grow as human beings and we get taller, and when we die we lie down, and the same for flowers, trees, plants. And I think the idea that we go upwards to something good and we go down if something is bad. I think that's just sort of more of a basic human view of life, really, rather than. And so I think when it comes to us trying to find a metaphor for heaven and hell, I think it's just a natural way of us viewing that we view the good thing being up and the bad thing being down.
Thanks,
I think it's more basic than that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I thought when you said she has been, I thought that was where you were going to stop. There has been. Stop.
Never. And they go, oh, there he is, there he is. I thought, oh, they've recognised me. Yes, I was Jesus. No, they thought I was their taxi driver. So they got on the back of the car. and I explained that I wasn't the taxi driver, but they didn't really believe me. So I dropped them off wherever they had to go. And then.
Yes, I've been to Burnley. I went to a football match at Burnley. Manchester United were playing Burnley, and I arrived at the game as a guest. So we went to the guest entrance, and I was wearing like a nice suit jacket and some trousers accordingly, but a t-shirt underneath, like a black t-shirt, and a very gravelly Burnley accent. Said to me, "Where's your tie?" I said, "I beg your pardon." He said, "Can't come up these stairs without a tie." So I said, "But I'm wearing a t-shirt. Even if you were to supply me with a tie, I'm wearing a t-shirt. If I were aware of it, then I would have worn a tie." "No, you got to wear a tie." So my lasting memory of Burnley is him approaching me with the most awful brown patterned like Uncle Jerry would wear, and he made me put it on above my t-shirt.
Love it.
There's a kind of embarrassment in Britain about saying that you're religious. I remember Alistair Campbell saying when Tony Blair was asked whether he had prayed with President George W. Bush, and Campbell said, "We don't do God."
And, I've considered him a pal. We've had great banter over the years. We've had, great dinners out here in LA as well. He really shook things up, and that's Piers is very much his MO, isn't it? He comes in, he shakes things up. And that's what he's certainly done in the world of breakfast television.
Hi everyone, it's me, Dee. You might know me from Benefit Street, Celebrity Big Brother, or you might just recognise the gob, the dulcet tones. So tune in to the God, I get this wrong, God podcast.
The Godcast.
The Godcast with me and Father Alex very, very soon. Take care.
Remember some of the hymns that you were singing, Levi? What kind of hymns do you recall from your childhood?
Well, we used to sing loads of them, and I still, I still sing them now whenever time I do my speaking to an elderly audience. I sing, "Stand up and tell me if you love my Savior. Stand up and tell me if you love my Lord. Oh, I want to know if you love my Savior. I want to know if you love my Lord."
Oh, love it.
When I go to sixth forms, which I do quite well in normal times, I do quite a lot. I really enjoy working with young people, and I like the refining fire of young people's questions. When I go to a sixth form to do like a Q&A, you can be sure that the second or third question will always be about why is the church so homophobic? And quite often I'm embarrassed. They often also ask, why is the church so racist? And I'm embarrassed about that as well. And so, speaking very personally, I am determined to try to make a difference and to use the position and influence I have to make the church a much more welcoming place for all people, including LGBTI plus people. There is no place for homophobia in the church, and we must name it as the sin that it is.
I was just like staring at the phone, and then Bobby Robson called, and he said, "You've been doing great. I would like you to come and join us. Brian Robson's injured himself today. Would like you to come and join up with us."
Of course, but when you were a young guy, you actually contemplated joining the Roman Catholic priesthood. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
It was your classic Irish family, really. Interesting. My mum and dad. My dad born a Catholic into an Irish Catholic family in Liverpool. My mum was a convert. It's the usual thing then, when you married a Catholic, you'd have to agree to bring up the children as Catholics, that sort of thing. And she became a Catholic. So we would go to Mass and Benedicts. I'd serve on the altar. And I was very, very committed Catholic, involved in the church a lot. And then at the age of about 11, 12, they asked, have you considered a vocation? And at that stage, I thought, yeah, I might have. So I went off.
It's, happiness itself, particularly when you're young, is a strange thing in itself. You are identifying yourself. You're becoming a person at that point, and trying to figure out what makes you happy and trying to figure out why you are feeling certain things is one of the greater challenges of growing up, experiencing, becoming aware, I suppose.
How much dosh do you think you gave to drugs and drink, Paul, in those bad times?
I think we've said about 500,000 over the years.
Really?
In the book, yeah. And I couldn't even put a figure on it. It was a lot.
I want to make someone happy. I don't like being surrounded by negative people because negative people pull me down. And I remember this lady come up to me and she said, I didn't want to come here tonight, love, because I heard you swore, and I don't like swearing, it's filth, but I never took offence to when I heard it. She said, but you have brightened up my life. She said, my husband is in a coma and I've had to switch the machine off and I've been devastated.
In the sense that anything could go wrong and then you're the ones that look bad for it. But 9 times out of 10, our gigs are absolutely amazing, and we've got such a faithful following of fans that just love it. And I think the older we get, we feel we've got less to prove because we've kind of been there and done it a lot in the past. So we're a lot more relaxed now, and we just get into the groove. And I think our fans who persist on coming get time and time again to see us know that, and they know what to expect from a Shed 7 concert.
Thanks, Alex. Can I say that I've sung with Dene Michael? Can we do a bit?
Are we ready? Are you ready?
You sing.
I could do, push pineapple, shake a tree. I could do, push pineapple, grind coffee. To the left, to the right, jump up and down to the knees. Come and dance every night. Sing with a hula melody. Yeah.
Basically, it's most of the people I know, are quite spiritual people. I know very few kind of out and out atheists. But realistically, they're never going to come to church on Sunday morning. Now, I love church on Sunday morning. I'm sure, like you do. I've grown up with it and I've loved it. But so the Church of England, in their wisdom, I suppose, have sort of come to that conclusion that some will go to church and really get something out of it, but loads and loads of people won't. So if
we've done quite a few things together over the years, really, just numerous things in numerous cities, really. So. We often see each other most weekends, really.
That's nice to hear. And have you? What's your own capabilities with a canvas, Michael? Are you any good?
The only thing I can do with a canvas is sell it. I can't. No, I really am mega untalented when it comes to it. I suppose it's the age-old story. You can write the song, but you can't sing them.
This strikes me sometimes. There is no room for mistakes and forgiveness, so
yeah, that's absolutely true. I think that's
it's almost like we want to see them swinging from the gallows before we're satisfied, and I don't actually think that's all that helpful, actually.
No, we live in, I always talk about this era of crass polarity that we live in, because it does seem to be that, you're either that or you're that. And if you're anything in the middle, or you understand the grey area, or which is usually the bigger area, then there's something wrong with you. I always think that songs have the ability to take me to
a spiritual level. And I was wondering what you think it is about music that does that. I mean, if I can,
it's our heavenly language.
Yeah,
I think it is, and I think that it has that power. It just does, and because it was given to us by God, it's our heavenly language, and it has that kind of mystical power.
I've campaigned just in recent weeks. I've said that they shouldn't have removed the universal credit, the extra £20 a week. I think it's completely the wrong time to do that, because we know that people's bills are going up, and it's the least well off, the most vulnerable, who of course proportionately this hits them the hardest. And so that's why I think it's the wrong time. It's incredibly insensitive.
My best friend, who was a drug dealer, had got sober, which really pissed me off. But then when I realised how he'd changed and what he'd got, that's where my rock bottom came, because I saw something in him that I dearly wanted to have but couldn't have. And it took me a good year or so to find out where my knees were. Yeah. And then once I was on my knees, then the only way was to come back up.
Or was anxiety creeping in? What was the feeling when you were as at the height of your success?
Well, I just really enjoyed all of it. I mean, in terms of I think what was quite nice with it is that it built quite gradually, but it was like a consistent but gradual build. So it was never like, oh my God, well, there were a few moments of, oh my God, this is incredible. So first time we were on Jules Holland was pretty mind-blowing, and performing opposite the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Tom York over there, and I
actually learned a lot about sort of just basic social skills from drugs, but at the same time, I mean, there's limits to the community you're finding as a homeless 17-year-old female, because everything's a threat. Obviously, well, I mean, I say obviously, but maybe it isn't obvious. I ended up in lots of positions where, I was raped and assaulted in various ways, multiple times over the course of that. I was also
I know this might sound a bit weird, but did you find a place of comfort with anxiety where you kind of just, this is how it's going to be, and you kind of created a world for yourself, or was it really a horror story?
Well, that type of question, Alex, infers to me that you know what you're talking about, because ultimately you need to understand it to a certain level to be able to ask that question. And the reason why I think that's an intelligent question in relation to anxiety in particular, Alex, is because when you get to a certain level with it, it just becomes a comfort zone that isn't very comfortable.
One story, Alex, that shows she did forgive. I had a call from, I'm going to get the year wrong and you'll forgive me. I think it was her 70th birthday, and it may have been her 75th. And Geoffrey Howe rang me and said, I haven't been invited to her 75th birthday party. Well, Geoffrey Howe was one of the reasons she was brought down. His speech in the House of Commons was politically devastating, and was then followed up by Heseltine, by Michael Heseltine, creating an election which got rid of her. And I rang Mrs. Thatcher, Lady Thatcher, as I suspect she was by then, and I said, Margaret, I've had a call. I was quite open about it. I've had a call from Geoffrey Howe, and he wonders if it would be at all possible to attend your 75th. I think he wants to come. I think he wants to be there. And she said, without hesitation, I'll put an invitation in the post today. I didn't think he would want to come, Geoffrey. Thank you very much indeed. And that was the end of that conversation. So yes. And by the way, Geoffrey Howe did attend that and was kind enough to thank me.
And I will trust in you alone. And I will trust in you alone. For your endless mercy follows me. Your goodness will lead me Oh, I'll walk the darkest path. I will not fear the evil one, for you are with me, and your rod and staff are the comfort I need to know. And I will trust in you alone. And I will trust in you alone. For your endless mercy follows me. Your goodness will lead me Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jonathan. God bless from Burnley, and thank you again. Thank you.